Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Burnout Brighter podcast. This is episode 89. My name is Matt. I'll be your host for this evening's events. I'm joined, as always, by Destiny
Hey, hey, hey.
and Darren.
Hello.
On this week's show, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I'll give you that rundown after. But what I wanted to start with is having a short conversation about what is happening in both Palestine and in Ethiopia in the Tigray region. Lots of people are dying in Palestine in the conflict that doesn't seem to ever end between Palestine and Israel, especially in the last little while during Ramadan. Lots of bombs have been launched. Lots of people have died. People have lost their families, their friends, and it's needless violence in a time where the world should be coming together, fighting a pandemic. Lots of people are losing their lives. So I just wanted to put that out there. I want everybody to please do their research. With the way that the media seems to be skewing things in one direction or another, it is very, very important for everyone to do their research. Especially Vox has a couple of great articles and videos that give a very unbiased look at the entire situation. And I'm going to be posting a bunch of links in below to be able to give people an avenue to learn more and to donate. If you're looking to donate, please do so. There is a huge humanitarian aid effort going out to try and help the displaced people of Palestine and to the people that have lost their homes or their lives or their families. So please, please, please do your research and find more below. Palestinians are constantly being killed in a war that is entirely not fair. So please, please, please do your research and check everything out. Destiny, if it's okay with you, I'll throw to you for the situation in Ethiopia.
Okay, so Ethiopia's shadow war has been going on for a while now. It's not as black as white as we'd like it to be, but we do want to basically hold those accountable who are basically raping and killing the Tigrayan civilians. We're not really asking you to do a lot. If you can't afford to donate money, that's okay too. But just sharing information and researching the information you share will do a lot to help those in need. Basically, in both these situations, those who are causing harm, destruction, and just pain need to be held accountable for those actions. And that is why we took the time at the beginning of our podcast to address the subject, because we believe that the world can be a better place, and we are trying to give as much information as we can to help those and aid those who are struggling right now. So if you have some time, 5 minutes, whatever, you can just share our podcast. And as Matt said, he's going to have the links at the bottom. And we've researched everything that we put up there. So we kind of done some of the work for you. But please, if you have time and if you care about just humanity as a whole, share the information, talk about it, make it a conversation, because it needs to be known.
Yes, and to go back to Palestine for a second, one of the reasons that we brought this up, besides this being just a humanitarian issue, one that people are dying needlessly, something that's been going on with IGN, which is a popular site that we reference over the last the entire time that we've had our podcast. They put up a statement just a few days ago supporting the people of Palestine, and they basically posted a bunch of links to different ways that you could donate and different ways that you can learn. And about a day and a half after they posted their article, their corporate overlords basically went ahead and pulled the article and put out a very much a both sides statement. They also made a donation to a couple charities, which in and of itself is a nice gesture. But again, they basically went ahead and destroyed what the IGN staff were trying to do. And what's happened since then is only actually about half an hour since this podcast was recorded. The IGN employees, about more than 70 of them, signed a giant letter basically calling out their corporate owners, asking them for more information, for finding out why their article was pulled, for why they went against their journalistic integrity, and basically asking for more clarification as to why things happened the way that they did. Because again, this is a humanitarian issue. This isn't one that has a lot of sides. It's complicated, yes, but again, make sure you do your research to understand what is happening, because it's important. Both the situations in Palestine and the situations in Tigray deserve awareness, and just being ignorant about it isn't a justification anymore. Just saying, well, I don't know, I've never read. Do your homework, do the research, And before we move off of this, Darren, I just want to ask you if there's anything else that you want to throw in, because I know that you have also had feelings about this.
Yes, no, thank you. Thank you both. I think both of you put it very well. I just want to echo what you both said about, spreading awareness, because I don't think that while the media is covering the situation in Palestine, um, I don't think that it's being covered in necessarily, a way that it should be covered. So I think the only way to combat anything like that is to educate yourself. And for the situation in Tigray, I don't think the media is really covering it very much at all. So even more important to look it up and do your research. So get that message out there, spread the word. And thanks so much to you both for bringing this up.
Yep. Thank you, both of you, for taking the time to talk. And again, do your homework, do your research. But let's start the show. Guys, what the fuck did you do to the podcast last week? I leave you two assholes alone for 1 week. You changed the name. You leave me out of it. I had to put my own end cap on it to warn people because there were actual comments being like, "Is Matt really gone?" Which, thank you for your support. But yes, sons of bitches. Did a great job. I had a lot of fun listening to it, and you better believe we will play that game that Destiny invented, even though I will lose horribly at it, because we both know Darren knows far more about movies than I do. And as I was telling Destiny before the show started, there were a couple movies where she said, where I was like, man, you know what? I wish Destiny put a little more work into this because this is obviously a game. And then she was like, it's a movie. I was like, well, I'm full of shit. So thank you guys for carrying the podcast. As I made my move back to Canada, I'm back now in quarantine. So fun times. But yeah, welcome back to the show. This is episode 89. We're going to be talking about Ubisoft making less AAA games, PlayStation 5 DualSense new colors, Disco Elysium finally coming to Australia, Endwalker. We're going to have a hell of a show for you guys, and we're going to start, as always, with a round of random questions. And every time I forget about this segment, literally my mouth is now programmed after doing the show for 89 episodes.
To say that without even thinking about it.
Exactly. And then I run into it as if I was running face first into a wall every fucking time. And now I'm going to start with Darren this week. I'm going to start with my Darren.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Feel the love.
First of all, I want to say that this is just nothing but slander when you mention that we did something weird to the podcast. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Thank you, Darren. I think it was an upgrade.
I
am
so
being
too.
gaslit. I am being shamed. Darren, as I look at this bookshelf full of books to my right, what I want to ask you is if you could have a book written about any video game, whether it's canceled or not, or full of information, or, like secrets and stuff, what book would you want to read about a video game that would help you have a full understanding of what happened to it, or why it released the way that it did, or whatever? But like, if you could read about a game and you have all the information that you'd be interested in learning about, what game would you want a book about?
Oh my God. That's such a good question.
Thanks, man. Look at me.
Man. That is a good one.
It took me 89 episodes to figure this out. And it's just pretty much attributed to as I look around the room and try and figure out what the fuck I could talk about.
First, I want to say that there is actually a book series that's sort of like that. There's a series of books called Boss Fight Books. It was a Kickstarter campaign, and they actually write books about the development of specific video games. My brother has read a bunch of them, and from my understanding, they're very hit and miss in quality. So if you're interested, check them out, but look at reviews first, because maybe you're going to find out that the game that you're interested in, the book was not so good.
I also want to toss out Jason Schreier's books. He has one already out and then a second one coming that gives like a lot of really cool information about games and what the hell happened to them. So check those out. But anyways, Darren, go on. What game would you want to learn about or read about?
Maybe this is going to sound like an obvious answer. But I would love to read a book about the development of Super Mario 64. Because while it wasn't the first 3D game, there were 3D games that came out before it. It really was the very first 3D game to have the like classic joystick controls for moving like a character around a 3D space that we still use today. And I know that that game's development was so linked with the development of the N64 itself, which was the first console to bring the joystick back after it was replaced by the D-pad.
Right.
So I would just love to hear the thought process that went into Nintendo developing the N64 and how they decided to basically invent an entirely new way of controlling a character. Like, how did you design the very first like playable 3D platformer?
That's really cool. I think that would be really, really interesting to dig into Miyamoto's thought process and everybody that worked with him in it. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Good answer, Darren. Look at you putting
Thanks.
thought into your answer for the to make up for the lack thereof of thought that I put into these questions.
For once, I put
Destiny.
thought into something too.
Hmm.
I'm gonna ask Destiny a question now. Destiny, as I look around my mom's office again, and this time I see slippers. What I want to ask you is, there will soon be a collaboration between Nike and PS5 to drop PS5 Nikes. They look pretty cool.
Okay.
If you could take any console and have shoes based on them, which ones would you want to have and why?
I think the N64 because I like the color scheme of it.
So sell me on that shoe. What would it look like? What's the color scheme? How
I
does it
am
look?
not a salesperson. I am terrible at sales.
Okay, well,
Absolutely.
tell me more about what the shoe would look like. Is it purple? Is it gray?
It would be purple with like some teal green, just because I like teal green, and I think purple and teal green go really good together.
I agree.
I
know colors.
Probably some cool grays, either teal green or aqua. I don't know why I keep saying teal green, just teal or aqua. And probably like a dark gray color. And then on the bottom, I actually have some like Skechers from Nintendo.
There you
where
go.
They're the old, like the design on them is the original controller from
The NES?
Yeah. And then on the bottom, the NES. And then on the bottom, one says game and one says over
That's
on
dope.
the shoes.
So cool.
Your shoes,
Yeah.
are they sneakers? Are they slip-ons? Are they high tops? Are they
They're
low
high
tops?
tops.
They're high tops. Yes, Destiny. I knew they'd be high tops. It makes me so happy in my soul that they're high tops.
Like my Simpsons ones.
Yeah.
My Simpsons fans.
Yeah. I like
And
those. That's
Do
a
they
good
have
idea.
a joystick sticking up the flap? A little joystick
I don't
handle?
think they should have a joystick, but maybe like a little like keychain of a joystick that kind of hangs on the
Hangs off
side. Yeah.
What if you glued a bunch of joysticks together? Like, imagine the joystick part where you touch on the outside and they all meet in the middle, and you could put them in the heel and you could roll around on them.
What if there were like 3 designs, like one with like the joystick that's like the pattern, one that's like the controller, and then one that's like I don't know, like maybe some of the most famous, the top 10 games that were out on N64. I think people would really like that.
That'd be awesome.
See, what I'm thinking is, like, if for anybody who's on video, you would have the joysticks like this, right? The thummy part, and everything would meet in the middle, and you could stick them in the heel of the shoe and roll around on them.
No.
So you get a more
What if you got
uncomfortable rolly.
What if you got a game with every pair of shoes you bought?
Oh, shit. That's
That
cool.
Would be super cool. You're also raising
Or you could
the
also
price
get-
of those shoes by a lot. for
Well, it'll be
collectors.
like a digital download, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
not as
like
bad.
they wouldn't have to do like the cartridge.
Or what about, instead of a game, like you mentioned Destiny, like the kind of hanging off, like a little keychain that you hang off the shoe, you'd get like a game-themed keychain.
That would be cool.
Or what
Right.
Do
about
that.
if you actually built some computer parts into the shoe and you had a little cable that stuck into the back of the shoe to plug into your TV and a cartridge slot on the like rubber on the bottom, so you could just plug a cartridge into your shoe and use it like an N64.
I just feel like those would break so
Darren,
easily.
Let me explain to you something. There are good ideas, like my joystick wheel, and there are bad ideas, like sticking your cartridge into your shoe. Which is which, we don't know. But there are both of those kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
But what if it was
They're
like a
both
USB
bad.
cable and you could plug it into your phone so that you could walk and play the N64 game on your phone? And just
Now
have
you're
to, like,
thinking.
Yeah, but you still have the wire connected to your shoe. I feel like that's a tripping hazard. People were dying playing Pokemon Go. I don't know if we want to add any like.
What if you put a 50-inch TV connected to the shoes, 25 inches on each shoe, and you could, when you put your shoes together, you could see the whole picture?
What if you could enter a contest when you bought a pair of shoes where they would give you $50,000 to deck out your own game room instead of all that crap you guys are saying?
What if we move off of this question?
And that would never work.
What if we move off of this question and somebody now asks me a question before our listeners are like, why are they spending 6 minutes on theoretical shoes? And if you're curious, go back to listen in like episode like 5 or something if you want to learn how to wash those shoes. Who's got a question for me?
Oh my God. You know what? Every time you ask this, I'm never ready. But okay, I think I have a question.
Oh my God.
Because I saw something in my room. All right.
All right. See? You're learning.
All right. So let's say this is based off of like what I just said a few minutes ago. If you had $50,000 to deck out your own personal game room, what are some of the key components? Name like 5 key components that you would need to have in your dream game room.
Okay. First, I would want sneakers that when I combine them make a 50-inch TV. No. I would want...
Oh my God.
I would want a big-ass TV, and I'm thinking like 100-inch. Let's go with 100-inch. I don't want like movie theater size. That's too big. But I want it to be big enough that somebody walks in, they're like, "That's a stupidly big TV." You know, I want it to be that big, so that like when
in How I Met Your Mother, like one episode she goes over and he turns on the TV and all you see is this huge bright light.
Exactly,
it takes up, like a whole wall.
Exactly that. Okay, I'd want that. I'd want like an incredibly comfortable chair, a few incredibly comfortable chairs, right? I want to have no neck and back problems from sitting on the couch and playing for 12 hours, okay? Right. Simple thing. I want a bar. I want a live-in bar, right? That has like let's call it a snack bar of alcoholic beverages, food, many kinds of snacks.
I like
right?
that.
You mean like a bar?
No, a snack bar, Darren. Listen to the adjectives before the word bar. I would want, like, you know how in like factories or in scientific places, you have like an eye wash station if shit gets into your eyes, like chemicals and stuff. I want a hand wash station. So after you finish eating your snack, no, it has to be a hand wash station.
Or just a sink.
Hand wash station, guys. Keep up. And for the last thing, to go with this massive TV and this very lavish setup, I want a cheap $1 like Bluetooth speaker from the dollar store to make this sound as bad as possible. And there's my dream game room.
Okay.
What?
So what are you going to do with the rest of the money?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Add more hand wash stations to the room. So, you know, if me and the homies are playing...
This is terrible. I thought you were going to be, like, serious about this. Moving on.
Hand wash station. Every sink is a hand wash station.
Yes, if he had a bar, he would already have a sink in the bar.
But not every hand wash station is a sink, Darren. You have to open your mind. Let's move on, guys.
I actually was like thinking, I was like, no, that's a water fountain. That's not, no.
Did you guys miss me yet? For those of you who asked if I was gone, are you happy with the way that things played out?
Oh my God.
Let's move on. Destiny, I'm going to start with you this week. What's new? What's been going on? What have you been playing?
So I have been playing, oh my God, the game just slipped my mind.
So distracting the idea of hand wash stations.
Yeah. No, I've been playing Tierra, but I also started playing a different game, and right now I can't think of it. I'm sorry. Why am I like this?
What do you do?
I'm going to put a pause on. I'm going to let you think about it.
Wait, I like start, and then like I'm like, oh, this is like interesting. And then I'll get like... No, Stardew Valley's not new, but I have been playing it. I have been playing Stardew Valley, but that's... okay, I just remembered. Actually, I pulled up Steam. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's spelled Rakuen, Raccoon?
It's pronounced raccoon.
No, I don't think so. But I've been playing that, which is like it's like my style. It's like vintage 64-bit, and it's really, really cute. So I started playing that because I really want to just play different games, even if I only put like a little bit of time into them, because I don't want to come on every week and be like, I was playing Terra. Yeah. Because I play Terra almost every week.
Destiny, can you spell that game for me again? I'm just trying to look it up.
RAKUEN.
Raccoon?
Yeah.
This looks very much like a Destiny game.
Yeah.
How is it? Are you liking it?
It's cute. I really like it. Like, I got through the first part. Basically, it's like it starts off with this boy, and he's very, very sick. And there's this book that his mother reads to him all the time, and that's that's basically the title of the game. And I haven't gotten like super far into it, but your mom is traveling with you as you go through this world. And that's all I've gotten so far.
I thought there was so much more to that sentence.
No, because like I forgot most of it. I'm really terrible, guys. I've been like doing too much. So I've also been watching. I started watching Jupiter Uprising. I think that's the name of it.
I've heard it's very meh.
No, I lied. Jupiter's Legacy. Jupiter Uprising was a different movie with Mila Kunis. Jupiter's Legacy Ascending. Is... Oh, Jupiter Ascending, right. Uprising, Ascending, synonyms.
Yeah, you're going up either way.
But yeah, you're going up. Going up. Okay, sorry. Jupiter's Legacy is a show on Netflix. I started watching it, but I really could not get past the terrible costuming. Like the beard and the wigs. Like when it looks cheap, it makes me feel like the whole thing looks cheap. So the only part that I really am getting into is the flashbacks, because supposedly like the main character, I'm not going to tell you guys too much in case you ever want to watch it, but the main character is a superhero. It's like a live action of Invincible, but not as bloody and gory. Like that's immediately what I thought of when I started watching it. And I was just like, oh, the budget on this must not be that great.
The reviews have not been kind to that show. And like I saw a couple pictures, and like you said, the costumes, I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
What I don't understand is that they let him walk out, and they were like, yeah, this is exactly what
They're
we
like,
want.
This is exactly how much money we have. Let's move on.
And I was like, man, like the costuming is just not that great. Then I started rewatching IT Crowd. Have you guys watched that?
I've seen some episodes. No. Really funny.
Oh my God, it's so funny, Matt. Like you have to watch it.
It's British, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not like it's funny though. Okay, I know I said that weird. For any of our British listeners, like you guys have a very specific type of humor, right?
Yeah.
And most of your humor I can't get into, but IT Crowd is very universal. You will like it, I promise. It is funny.
Okay, I'll try it. Yeah, like
just try one episode. It's really funny.
Yeah, British humor doesn't generally land with me very well, but I'll give it a watch.
Same.
I'll give it 3 episodes. That's my rule for any TV show. I'll give it 3 episodes.
You'll like it. Okay. And then I was watching Called the Midwife, which is about midwifery. Yeah, and it's actually really good. And I stopped watching it right before I moved to Korea. But then I picked it up again. But like I'm kind of sad because like a lot of the main people left, kind of, sort of. And then like
that sucks.
The birthings of the babies don't look as realistic as they did in the first season. I think it's important.
What a specific complaint.
Because the whole show is about having babies.
I know. I just wasn't expecting that. Like the cast left, the births, they look a little too Party Central, a little too Halloween hut.
Listen, I have one complaint, and this is like my main complaint, and I even forgot about it, but my friend remembered that I bitched about this when I first saw it, because I rewatched it. They had this, every time they have like a white woman, because it's usually white women, have a baby in some like situation where like they had sex with a black guy, and oh no, their husband's gonna find out. They don't want their husband to find out, right? It is the blackest baby I have ever seen come out of a mixed fornication situation. I mean, these
fornication situation. If we ever start a band, that is our band name.
Fornication situation.
Sorry,
but
go
it
on.
makes me mad because it's so unrealistic. Like, these babies are blacker than me, and babies don't come out that dark from a mixed relationship. So it's like what I can't understand is, like, you guys are filming this in Europe. You have lots of mixed people, and you're like, let me just get this baby that's the darkest of dark. Not that I have anything against babies, but it's supposed to be like biographical or whatever. So just make it work.
Was that the takeaway there? Destiny hates babies? I don't
Nobody
was walking out of that conversation being like, man, Destiny really hates infants.
Well, some people think I don't like babies because I think babies can be ugly and cute. I don't think all babies are precious and adorable.
No, that's just a fact.
Yeah, but people get upset. You know what I wonder? Okay, random, and then we can move on to Darren.
Okay.
Sometimes I wonder if I have a baby, right, and it's ugly, am I going to be able to be like, damn, my baby's ugly? Or am I going to be like, it's so precious, even though my baby's ugly, and I'm just blinded by love?
Listen.
And I think I'm going to know my baby's ugly if it's ugly.
I think there's a way that we'll be able to solve this, because, like, let's say we get famous. We can just ask Twitter. We can do a Twitter poll and put up a picture of your baby and be like, is Destiny's babies ugly? Yes, or yes.
I mean, we could do that, but I feel like that would, like, come back on my baby, like,
Probably.
years later, and they would find it, and they'd be like, so I don't want to do that. I might tell you guys, like, damn, I had a really fucking ugly baby, guys. And then, like, just leave it at that. I don't know. It just makes me curious, because every time they have a baby on the show, they're like, oh, it's the most beautiful thing ever. And I'm like, really? Yeah.
Hard pass.
Yes.
Let's hard pass over on to Darren. Darren, what's new?
Man, can you, like, imagine playing new games? What that would be like? I don't really have anything to say. Can I just yield my time to have Destiny talk about babies some more?
Darren, your face for the last 27 odd minutes has been very much like, why do I do this show?
He loves us.
I know.
I do. I love you guys. I'm just, like, vigorously trying to think of something unique to say that's not, hey, have you heard
So you're still playing Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
No,
I'm glad you're still enjoying it.
I have one complaint, not about Final Fantasy, a complaint about Disco Elysium, because I'm almost at the end.
About babies?
Not enough births in the game. There needs to be more births.
Sorry, go on.
I think the game keeps crashing on me, okay? It's, like, super glitched still. Like, I'm just, like, really mad at the quality of the the technical aspect of the game. Like, I feel like there's no reason for this game to have this many tech issues. It's crashed on me. Basically, okay, maybe it's my fault because I'm playing for like 4 hours at a time, but like my session never ends in me quitting.
That shouldn't matter, though.
It shouldn't matter. It never ends in me quitting. It ends in the game crashing. So I'm like saving constantly. And then also they just updated the game in April, which broke the fast travel system. So now when you reach day 4, you just like can't fast travel anymore. Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't know why that's funny to me.
I don't know. I'm mad. I mean, the game's fantastic, and I love every second I play it. But like, I hope
the port sounds like it could have used some more work, a little more TLC.
Yeah, like as long as it sticks the landing, it's still gonna be probably on like my top 10 games of all time list, even despite this. But like, dudes, like, fix it, fix the game.
Fix it so we can travel fastly, quickly.
Yeah, I want to travel fastly,
like Sonic.
And I want to finish the game so I can play something else and I can talk about something original.
Nice. Well, still, I mean, Disco Elysium and Final Fantasy XIV are both great games, so I mean, nobody can fault you for continuing to play them.
They are. Did you know, before we go on to Matt, did you know that they are still releasing content for Final Fantasy XI?
Yeah, they are.
Like new content. That game has been out for almost 20 years.
Really? I don't think they're like full expansions, but it is like, you know, weekly content.
Quality
like
of life shit?
Yeah, like they're still updating the game and stuff.
Nice.
It's crazy.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
People still play the game.
People still like play it hardcore, like, wow.
Didn't know that.
Bet it's not as fun
All
as Final
right.
Fantasy 14 though.
That's not as fun as Terra. Okay, look, Final Fantasy is fun, but like I just like can't get into the fighting combat thing.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
But once I get further, whenever I decide to play again,
You know what
hey,
you know what you
better
can
watch
get
out.
into? You can get into my free company, Ashes of Yore, on the Leviathan
I
server.
thought I was. Oh, I'm not. Okay, I will be.
Listen,
Because
he needs the
Jackie,
numbers.
listen, the reason why we started even playing Final Fantasy is because some stupid dudes, not stupid, I'm sorry, they might listen, because some dudes that Jackie works with were like, man, I have Final Fantasy, nobody plays with me. Okay, so we all bought it, right?
Yeah.
He has not logged in once to play with us.
Sounds like someone else I know by the name of Matt who convinced
Hey, I
me
have reasons.
You do have
You
reasons.
know what I had to go through.
Speaking of Matt,
True.
what have you been up to?
Yeah. I've been up to a lot. I finished Returnal. That is a great game. And tough as hell. And Darren, like, I still reiterate that this is one of the most Darren-ass games I've ever played.
I want to play it.
And I know you will when, you eventually get your hands on a PS5 because they're still, not a thing.
Nope.
Great game. I had some major crashes and hours of progress lost because shit went south. And again, dying in a roguelike because it's my fault. I understand that's part of the game. Dying because, shit happened and the game just closed. Or because I launched Netflix and then trying to go back into the game after, the game wasn't happy about that. So I had a few times where like I lost probably about an hour and a half of progress just because. Despite all that, I kept playing, and I was actually messaging Midas at one point, being like, "I'm so fucking mad at this fucking game," and he's like, "Come play Apex," and I'm like, "No, I have to keep playing this stupid game because I can't go out like this," and I ended up beating it. It's a great game. The story is pretty interesting. As soon as I finished, I was like, what the shit does any of this mean? I started Googling, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. The combat's super, super satisfying. One hell of a game. I was surprised by how much I was taken by it, especially because that's not usually my thing. But I really, really liked it.
I think that's the mark of a good game if you you stop playing it and then you research more on the game.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a true ending I could have gotten and that required me finding a bunch of shit, and I was like, I'm not doing this. But there is more content.
Did they ever update the game to like add a save feature?
They're working on it evidently, or they're looking at it. There's been nothing so far. And like it's not as bad as it seems when it comes to the saves. I don't think it's as egregious as people made it out to be at the beginning.
Yeah, but if it crashes, it's a big deal.
Crashes are annoying, yes. But like in terms of the actual full game run, it's not as bad as people have made it out to be. And I don't want to say anything more than that without spoiling anything. But that was great. I've been playing more new Pokemon Snap. I'm taking my time with that game. I hop in every couple days and take a bunch of pictures of Pokemon. I don't want to just rush through it and finish it. That's a game that I'm actually taking my time with.
Is there a story to that?
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
The story's just kind of there, but like you have to progress through each stage to unlock new stages.
And new poses?
Not new poses.
Well, that's dumb. It's a whole What?
How
do you not get new poses? It's a whole game about taking pictures.
Because you're like a wildlife photographer. So they're like running around in the wild, like on a beach and stuff. And you have to like throw apples at them to try and get them into different poses or like do different things.
Can you hit them with the apples?
You can hit them with the apples.
I might get the game.
I know you will. Yeah, you can hit the Pokemon with the apples. I'm still really, really enjoying it. The grind does wear on me a little bit, which is why I don't play it every day, because I feel like if I played it every day, I would kind of lose a little bit of the magic for me. But despite that, me taking it in the way that I've been taking it, I'm still really, really enjoying it. And for, like I said, anybody who likes Pokemon Snap, you're going to find what you want here. I started Mass Effect, the trilogy. I started number 1 for my first time ever.
Ooh.
What do you think?
I am pleasantly surprised so far. I'm enjoying it. The main character's voice acting sounds like he's a wooden piece of log, just speaking.
I don't think I've ever big stupid jellyfish.
He literally just talks like this, and he says, "Oh no, why did you do that?" Like he's just such a monotone delivery on the majority of his
somebody
lines.
got paid to do that.
Evidently, he gets better as the series goes on. But like, so far, I'm just kind of every time he talks, I'm just kind of like, seriously, man. Like that's the
Yeah.
best you got. And again, not I don't know if it's the voice actor or the direction he was given, but yeah, just
That's
that so
that's
far
the
is
only
bugging
reason I
me.
played a female character when I played the Mass Effect trilogy is because I heard her voice acting was so much better. And it is. Her voice acting is so much better than the male character.
Yeah, I've heard the same. And the biggest gripe that I have with the fucking game so far is the mini map is beyond useless. I don't understand why it's there if it doesn't even show the area that you're in. All it does is show enemies, and that's a red blip on the fucking radar. Like the amount of times I have to keep going to the menu and opening the map, it's like a multi-step process just to be able to see where the fuck I am.
Oh,
It's
there's no
so
short key for it?
no, no, which makes me
Oh,
even
that's
more upset. Like, if you're gonna have a
terrible.
mini map, just show my immediate surroundings. I just want to see
Just
where I'm
press
going.
M for a map.
Yeah,
But
and
you can't
map.
do that.
No, I can't. But like, yeah, it's just frustrating because I get lost often, especially on these giant planets where it's just like a big open space. And I'm kind of like, all right, drive a little bit this way, open the map. Am I facing the right direction? Oh, I have to turn a little bit this way. Stop, open the map. Okay, now I'm the right way. I just have to drive in a straight fucking line from here and hope I hit my objective. Um, like it does show objectives as you get closer, but like that map is frustrating. But the writing is interesting. The characters seem cool, and like the gunplay is fun. Um, I'm enjoying it so far. That like I think I'm definitely gonna keep going with it, and I don't know if I'm gonna do like 1, 2, 3 back to back to back. I'll see how I feel after I finish one. If I want to give myself a bit of breathing room before I run into two. Um, but yeah, that's about all I've been playing.
It
So
makes me
let's
so
mosey
happy
on.
that you're playing it, by the way. Mass Effect, for
I know.
those who don't know, it's one of my favorite RPG series of all time. Big Mass Effect fan. And yeah, like the fact that you're consuming my love makes me feel
Aww.
fuzzy inside.
Yeah, it's just one series that I just missed. I have no good reason as to why I didn't play it. Like it just passed by. I think because the original was on Xbox and I wasn't much big on the 360, and it was
Yeah,
like 2 and 3 came out on PS3 later on, but at that point I was like I didn't play 1. I don't want to just play 2 and
exactly.
3.
Yeah.
So now I'm glad to have the opportunity to actually jump in. The PS5 load times make everything nice and snappy.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. I'm curious to keep going with it. But
Nice.
talking about Mass Effect and talking about big AAA games, our main topic for today will be all about Ubisoft. I'm going to start with reading from an article from Eurogamer written by Tom Phillips, where it says Ubisoft has said it will release big budget free to play versions of some of its major franchises, as well as continuing its traditional full price AAA releases of things like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. Speaking with investors, Ubisoft financial boss Frederic Duget said the company's focus on releasing 3 to 4 big budget games per year was no longer a proper indication of our value creation dynamics. Or in normal speak, Ubisoft wanted its profits to grow by making even more money from other things. So basically, what's happening
Yeah,
is
aka we want more money.
yeah, we want more free to play games. And they basically go on to say that they're going to be focusing more on high profile, high budget, free to play games. I'm guessing those will be filled with microtransactions to some extent. Obviously taking a page out of things like Fortnite,
Yeah, they gotta make their money.
out of things like Genshin Impact, which all have massive player bases now, are wildly successful with varying degrees of microtransactions. So it seems like Ubisoft will still make your big Assassin's Creed games, but they're going to be moving away from doing as many of them in a year. Darren, I want to ask you first because I know you have heavy feelings about microtransactions. What do you think is the worst case scenario here? Let's say Ubisoft goes full board with microtransactions. What does for example, a free-to-play Assassin's Creed game that comes out look like with even heavier microtransactions than they do have today? What do you think that looks like?
I think we're already pretty close to the worst case scenario. I think what it looks like is crafting takes even longer, objectives are even grindier. You earn like abilities at a much slower rate. Basically, the games become a boring slog because the only way to make you want to spend money is if you feel like you're being inconvenienced. That's why it makes me laugh so hard when the companies justify microtransactions as time savers. Like, oh, we're just saving you some time. You don't have to use them. But that's a load of crap, because if the game didn't feel grindy or it didn't feel slow in any way, there'd be no incentive for you to pay for the microtransactions. So they totally influence the design of the game themselves if you have them.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
then,
if it's free to play, then I mean, they need to convince you to pay. So the best way to do that is to make the game even more of a slog.
so you'll think they'll, make crafting longer. Maybe put like you can craft 3 things in a day. After that, it takes an hour or 2 hours as that goes up. You might
Exactly.
see things like, if you want to change the way your equipment looks, guess what? That's $1 or however
Yeah.
much they might attribute to each of those.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Destiny, to someone who doesn't play as many AAA games, and that's part of that is because of the cost, right? And part of it being that, like, they're expensive. Do you see yourself jumping into more of Ubisoft's bigger games if they were free to play? Like if the new Assassin's Creed comes out and it's free, would you think you would, at least check it out? Does that incentivize you more to check it out? Or do you think that, again, as Darren said, the microtransaction would keep you away entirely?
I think, like, well, first I want to say it's not because games cost like a lot. It's because I just don't have the attention span to
Mm-hmm.
like play a game like that all the way to the end.
Yeah,
Usually,
which is part of it, right? If you only play for an
yeah.
hour and then you're like, shit, it's $90 or $80, you might feel more incentivized to keep
Well,
playing.
it
Not because
depends. Like if it's a Final Fantasy game because I'm nostalgic about it, I'll
of
probably
course,
buy it.
yeah,
But yes, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
But I just want everybody to know I'm not a cheapskate. I
yeah.
just
I didn't mean
don't have
that
the
like that. Yeah.
the attention to play those games. I think it depends on the game. So what I was thinking about when Darren was speaking is like Terra's free, but you have to pay to get like certain things if you want them. But
Mm-hmm.
the gameplay itself is so engaging and fun. I don't feel the need to do that. Now, I would feel the need to do that. I feel personally with um, Final Fantasy, I would want to go ahead and pay and get through all of the like early shit so I could get to the end, which they actually do have passes for that for people
Mm-hmm.
who don't want to go through and grind because grinding's not fun. If you're grinding with like friends or whatever, you're like talking so it goes by quickly, but it really just depends on what kind of world that they're trying to create and if it's interesting enough and if it's something that I already find interesting in. I do know that there's a new MMO coming out that's already kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like Assassin's Creed, like the latest one that they just had come out, which is
Mm-hmm.
all takes place in a Norse open world.
Right.
So those are things I would definitely try out. But I usually don't spend money on microtransactions anyway. I usually spend money by using the money I earn in game towards something.
Right.
But I'm not a hardcore gamer in that way. So somebody who's like a hardcore gamer, like for example, been playing 11 for 20 something years or WoW for even longer, may be okay with that if they really enjoy the game.
Yeah, I have like a weird thing when it comes to free to play games. I haven't really sunk a lot of time into any one. Like I tried Fortnite for a little bit. I tried Genshin, and like honestly, the biggest reason I put Genshin Impact down was because I was playing it on my phone. I could see myself investing more time into it.
What did you
But
think about Black Desert Online? Because you played that with us for a little while, didn't you?
briefly, but I found that one to be so not beginner friendly. Like there was so
Mm.
little information given to you, and like quests were not like I wasn't a fan of the game, which is
Mm.
why I played it for a couple hours. I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm done. But I like if I fall into a game like that, I find like I have like in my mind being like if it's something that I really like, even though it's free to play, I can set this much money in my mind aside for it to be able to purchase things because and like my rationale is I didn't pay for the game, but I'm enjoying it. I've been playing it for X amount of hours. I feel comfortable spending X amount of dollars. So I wonder how many
Right.
people have that mentality versus something like, they just go full board into it and, the whales that come and spend more and more money. But I do think that's also a slippery slope, right? Once you start spending money, it's kind of easy to continue doing so because by that justification, I spent $20, why not 30? Oh, I spent $30, why not
Yeah,
40?
the sunk cost fallacy, where you feel like, yeah,
Yeah,
I put this
Yeah.
much money into it, so it's a waste for me to not like spend more or play more or whatever.
Oh,
mhm.
that's how it is for me in Second Life, which is not a game. It's like a social platform or whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will not tell you how much money I have spent in this game just dressing up my character. But the
Yeah.
thing that I like about that is that not all of that money is going towards just corporate. It's going towards creators because it's a
Yeah.
creator made world.
Mhm.
So people are actually like making their living off of it. So I don't feel so bad. And I'm the type of person, like, if I want something, I want it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me.
Something that you brought up, Destiny, that I think is interesting is the whole like pay this much amount of money to skip the X amount of grinding or whatever, right? Because even Assassin's Creed does that to a certain extent, right? They're like, if you want to start at this level or whatever, you can pay this amount of money and just kind of automatically be at that level, which I think is interesting on two fronts. I can see it being kind of, I think people will look at it as like an easy pass, like why even play the game? But I also think that's kind of not really a logical thing anymore, because with the amount of games coming out and the amount of time that people have to devote to each one of those things, if you want to spend the money to get to a certain point, I mean, I say go for it. That it's your money, it's your choice. And like if you don't have the time, if you have kids, or if you work crazy hours and you want to jump in and not worry about doing the grind, then I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it.
I think most of the people who utilize this are people who've already been playing for a while and they just want another character at that level to start up. Like they have multiple.
Jesus Christ, sorry. Go on.
They have
dog
multiple
barking.
characters. So like my friend who told me, she's like, "Oh, I'll pay for you to get to this point." Well, basically she was going to pay for me to get to that point because they're at end game.
Yeah.
So they wanted me there. And then she's also used it just because like, oh, I want to play this. But she's been playing so long, she understands like the basics of the game. So she just pays and gets another character that's already at that level so she can just
Do the
hop
things she
over and
wants
play
to do.
that. Yeah, at this, at the same level. So I understand that. I think for someone who's never played the game before, that's probably not the best thing to do. Like you should probably like go around and like figure things out a bit before you just jump right to the end of the game. But I think people who are starting to play the game aren't willing to do that anyway.
And that's true in some cases. And for games that have multiple characters, and for games that have, like alternates of things for like mostly MMOs. But I think, Matt, what also you're talking about is games like Assassin's Creed that are single player. You only have one character. You're basically skipping mechanics of the game itself. And while in theory, this is why I brought this up at the beginning. In theory,
Right.
I don't think it's wrong to be like, "Hey, I'm busy. I don't have a lot of time to like get 6 tiger pelts to upgrade my chest piece." Like,
Right.
I'll just pay for the resources and we'll call it a day. That's not bad in theory, but the malicious part that Ubisoft is definitely guilty of doing is artificially making it more difficult to do that
To
stuff.
get those,
Right.
to get those
them
6
to
pelts,
pay.
yeah.
So, and I think if they went free to play, that's exactly what they would do. If you measured how much effort you have to put into an Assassin's Creed game right now to upgrade one chess piece in their free to play version, it's going to take even longer. And I don't want to make it sound like you can never do a free to play system that's not predatory, because Destiny, like you said, there are certain games that, like Terra. I mean, I have not played Terra yet, so I cannot speak from experience. But from what you've said, it sounds like it's not too predatory in terms of like respecting your time. You don't feel the need to spend money, and stuff like Path of Exile and Apex Legends. Like I played those, and it's really successful, and I never once felt obligated to actually pay for anything. And I've had a ton of fun playing those games without spending a dime. I just don't think Ubisoft specifically will do that. I don't think that they would make a game that's not predatory to some capacity, because the microtransactions that they already have, I think, have been proven to be predatory to some degree.
So what I want to ask you both then, because I think looking at it from not an inherently corporate angle, which is I think kind of a lot of what we've been focusing on right now, I want to ask what you guys think about an accessibility angle here for a second, because if you make the game free to play, inherently more people can play it, right? Whether it's people who can afford it prior or whatever else, right? More people can get into the game, and like you said, whether they choose to spend money or not becomes a thing, right? Like one of the reasons that Fortnite is as successful as it is today, outside of game design and the way that they handle their ecosystem, is because it's free and a lot of kids got in, right? I have this game. I tell, I'm 8 years old. I'm having fun playing this game. I tell 8-year-old Darren to check this game out. 8-year-old Darren gets in. There isn't a paywall for kids to get in and play together, which a lot of these social spaces turn into these kinds of things. So I want to ask you guys, what do you think about it from that perspective? Like, granted, again, there is inherently something dangerous there with providing, younger kids with an access point and seeing what happens. But what do you guys think about it from that perspective, to let people get in and play the game if they can't afford it, or, to be able to socialize in that space, even though you don't have the money for it? Destiny, I'll ask you first.
I feel like people aren't going to agree with me, but I think if they do that, there needs to be like an age cap, like different. Like if you're like, for example, 8, you're playing with other people between 8 and 12. Does that make sense?
Like to limit.
Yeah,
the
because
age
I
range?
just don't have the patience to deal with that. So if I know that a game, like I'm serious.
No,
like,
I know.
Yeah.
If I won't play Fortnite because of the community.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to put my time into a game, it's usually like something I'm serious about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to play with a bunch of like immature punks.
Right.
So that's what I would worry about. Like if they make this game like free to all and then just everybody is in there and people who have absolutely nothing else to do are in there all day and they just kind of ruin it for people who just want to enjoy it. Because I feel like that has happened with every single game that has been like, even with MMOs, they've had to separate PvP and PvE because it's just, they make it unenjoyable.
Right.
So
and
that
I
would
mean,
be
it's
your
similar to why.
Oh,
sorry, Darren, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that would be your main concern. You wouldn't be worried at all about the like monetary element of a kid playing a free-to-play game?
Well, I don't think that they would be able to, they would just have to grind, right? Like,
well, you have a lot of cases
unless their
of
parents
kids
were like
stealing their parents' credit cards or like
yeah, but they're going
like
to do that
1,000.
anyway. I don't think like that is like game specific. I think if their parents aren't, I mean, I feel like that falls on their parents.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if your kid is devious, like put your credit cards away where they can't get them. Do you know what I'm saying? And I honestly think that like, I honestly feel like there should be like extra protocol. You shouldn't just be able to get on and like use somebody's credit card, right? Like there should be some way where it's like you have to put it in a phone number or something like that. Because either way, your mom's going to see that she got texted. Yeah. Like there needs to be authentication.
Well, they do have like a lot of like, I mean, at least the PlayStation do have like a kids setting, right, where you can lock certain profiles to certain situations and stuff. So there are things in place to theoretically prevent that.
There are not enough, Matt.
There aren't enough. There are not enough. No, there are not enough.
There are not enough.
Darren, what do you think?
Oh, it's Destiny. Finish your thought.
Oh, sorry, D.
It's okay. Matt cut me off, and now I forgot what I was going to say.
Yes, my plan worked. Sorry, D.
It's okay.
Yeah, I agree with what I agree with what you were saying about there not being enough, because I think two-factor authentication would be the way to fix it. Because I think the problem is now is a lot of games are designed so that when you enter your credit card once, it'll save your credit card info. So then your kid could just be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy a little some feet. I'm gonna buy a chess piece. I'm gonna buy
some feet, not shoes or boots, perchance. No, they are buying feet.
Sorry, I forgot to mention this kid is a very young Quentin Tarantino. Just wants to buy some feet.
I don't like him. I don't like him. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's Anyways,
moving on.
So this kid has an easy access to these items because their credit card information's already been taken. And that's what I worry about, free-to-play games too. So it's on the onus of the publisher, developer, or whoever to put in two-factor authentication so that if you want to make a purchase, you got to enter, the code that's linked to the parent's phone or something like that.
Whatever it
Or
is, yeah.
email or something.
Yeah.
Some extra layer of protection.
But I don't think a lot of publishers want to do that because it makes it harder to spend money. When you could just click a button and have a piece of a game stuff, then you spend more because it's easier to spend.
And what sucks is that, like, I'm just piggybacking off of what you said. A lot of parents who have like come forward and being like, "Oh my God, my kid charged $1,000," they don't get that money back.
Yeah,
Most of the companies like, well,
yeah,
sometimes they do, but a lot of times, like, I've heard that like they don't get it back because they're like, well, like the company doesn't take the blame for that. They're like, well, you're the parent, you should be watching your kid.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that I agree with you guys. I think that, some sort of two-factor authentication, some added layer of protection is entirely necessary. But I do appreciate, looking at it kind of in a brighter light, the ability for kids to be able to play together, or even like people to be able to play together regardless of, socioeconomic situations, as long as there are proper protections in place to not let a fucking, 8-year-old go ahead and spend $1,000.
Wait, but I thought you were talking about games that were single player. Is Ubisoft thinking about creating an MMO?
A lot of free-to-play games are.
I know they are MMOs, but like, did they specifically say?
No, not necessarily MMOs. Like Fortnite isn't an MMO, but it's an online multiplayer game, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they're going to go in kind of that vein.
Okay.
I don't know how. We don't have concrete information. We don't know if they're going to take a single player game and just monetize it to shit, or if they're going to make something more multiplayer. We don't really know which way they'll take things.
Mm-hmm.
But where I kind of want to end this conversation is I think that this, in theory, could be good if that means that their AAA games have more time to breathe between releases. I have no inherent issue of them making, a free-to-play game if that means that Far Cry and Assassin's Creed get a couple years in between to be able to actually properly breathe and, develop and to make something new and cool. If that gives them more development time to be able to make something newer, that's cool. But I don't want the free-to-play games to choke the life out of their indies and out of their creatives.
Yeah, like the guys who made Grand Theft Auto. Like, I really wish they would put out a Bully 2, but they just decided to stop making games like that, and they put all their focus on Grand Theft Auto, which
online.
Is like,
yeah, because it prints money. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So where I want to end this conversation, and I'll ask you both, Darren. I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to ask you to be optimistic. I'm going to ask you to be positive.
Why?
What I want to know is it because...
Just let Darren be Darren.
I just want to ask both of you. I'm asking both of you. I said I'm just going to start with Darren because I started with Destiny last question. Which Ubisoft franchise do you think actually could work well as a free-to-play game? Let's say in this magical world where they don't monetize it to shit. There are microtransactions, but they're respectfully done. Which game or which franchise do you think actually could work in a free-to-play model?
So, well, first I want to say this is really hard for me. Okay, you're asking a lot of me to be positive.
I know.
I also want to make it known that I think you said something like, "I don't really have any inherent issue with them going free to play." I want to make it clear and known that I have many inherent issues with that. I'm not going to go into it, but I disagree.
Okay.
But for the sake of your question, because I did admit that not all free-to-play games are bad, I enjoy some free-to-play games. Mm-hmm. And easier accessibility to those games is good. I have to put a lot of caveats on my answer, okay?
Right, I understand. I'm asking you to be positive. They have to know there's inherent negativity in this positivity, and then people need to understand that.
I would think... I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm only saying this because of the direction it seems like they're already going.
Okay.
But Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Really?
And my 1,000,000th caveat to this, as someone who is a huge fan of Beyond Good and Evil 1, Beyond Good and Evil 2, the way it looks right now, is not what I want. I don't want this game. I wanted a proper, honest-to-God, single-player sequel to Beyond Good and Evil 1. but that's not the world we live in. We are getting a multiplayer focused Beyond Good and Evil 2. That is what we're getting. Just like, that's just a fact. And it looks like they're trying to mirror it off of an MMO style, where they want a lot of people to be exploring a big alien world. And this is a franchise that is not done well financial wise. So it should go free to play to get more people to try out the game, because I think it's a game that will speak better when you're actually like, it'll be easier to understand it once you've actually played it, rather than just heard about it, because it's a weird concept. It's a space game where all these planets have like anthropomorphic animal people, and it's like a advanced technological society, but it's very heavily influenced by like Indian culture and like other kinds of international non-Western cultures, very like hip-hop influenced. It's like very out there. So if it's free to play, more people want to play it. That works. MMOs I think work really well with a free to play structure, and it will allow them, if they want a nice living world, to have the money to
do that.
I'm shocked, Darren. Never in my life did I expect that answer coming out of you, but I see your reasoning, and I think it could work.
Someone's going to take this out of context and put like a sound bite of just me saying Beyond Good and Evil 2 should be free to play, and none of the like 500 caveats I put before my answer.
I feel like they're definitely going to do it now because you just gave them the idea.
Yeah, Mr. Ubisoft, if you're listening, there's an idea for you. Destiny, what about you? What Ubisoft franchise do you think could actually work as free to play?
I have two,
okay,
which I feel like are pretty popular, but I think the reasons why they could work is just because of the way the stories are told. Like, I think Far Cry could be its own MMO because they can just create a new story on a new continent, and I feel the same way about Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Because those games are open world, they are exploring. I could see you working with other people to like basically overrun some government like in the game, or take out some cult or whatever, because it's kind of what the games are about anyway. So yeah, I think those two would be spot on for like just the jumping off base for an MMO.
Yeah, I think you're perfectly on. I also think Assassin's Creed would work pretty decently in the free-to-play model, because like so much of that game already has a lot of microtransactions for glamours, for cosmetics, for everything. And like if they kind of, made it just Assassin's Creed and added onto it and made it change and stuff, like similar to the way that Fortnite does, where, every season the world changes, there are these world-shifting events. I think that actually work quite well in the Assassin's Creed universe, right? Like, be it each event shifts you to a different area or a different timeline, whatever it may be. I think it could work. I'm curious to see what games Ubisoft will take down this road, but we'll keep you posted as we find out more. We are going to now mosey on over to some news. Where we're going to start is coming from Eurogamer, written by Emma Kent. PlayStation 5's DualSense controller gets black and red versions. Announced via the PlayStation blog, the two new colors are themed around space and are officially called Midnight Black and Cosmic Red. They will be coming out in June. And weirdly enough, I think that the Cosmic Red is $5 more than the Midnight Black. Why? We don't know. But yeah.
Because the other one's just black. Like, it's just black.
One type of plastic.
I'm so mad. They're themed after like space. It's black. It's black.
Listen, I'll have you know.
They could have picked any other color. I know.
I like the Midnight Black. Okay.
I get it, but it's just basic. Don't even call it Midnight Black. It's just black.
Hey,
that's
listen,
all it is.
The first thing I thought about that controller when I saw it was, hey, that's midnight, okay?
So
That is
it's
not. You're a
appropriately named.
liar.
It is
You're a liar.
appropriately named.
You're a
I looked
liar.
at that thing before it
There
was
are
announced.
so many. Listen, there are so many colors you can get from space. Literally, these guys are like, it's pretty dark up there, and there are no stars tonight. It's kind of cloudy. What time is it? Oh, it's midnight. All right, you know what?
Midnight Black. Done.
Midnight Black. And then Matt, of course, is like, yes, I have to have that.
Right. What time is it? Midnight. I identify with this controller. I want it. Please give me it. It
The
matches
red
who I
one?
am.
The red one, it matches your soul. The
Yeah.
red one is
Hey.
a nice, like, red. It's not too bright. It's kind of like this maroony red. And that's why I like that, because I haven't seen, like, an official controller with that tint. But I've seen, like, tons of black controllers. So I'm like, they could have picked any other color. Like, if you're gonna make something new. Like, be inventive. Don't be like midnight black. It's so stupid. I could be like, it's tar black after cars on the road.
Hey,
On
that's
a
a good
rainy day.
idea. It's a good idea. You should be a color namer,
I should be.
right? Darren, what do you think of the controllers? Destiny's made her opinions known.
I mean, I like them. I think my only issue.
After Destiny's tirade about the color naming, Darren's like, yeah, it's good.
It's just black.
I think they had to. Oh shoot! I just shook my entire desk. Okay, I think after all the people like myself who complained endlessly of how much they hated the look of the controller and hated the look of the console because of the white, they need
It's
to make
cloud
it black.
white, Darren. It's
Sorry,
cloud white.
Cloud white, pearlescent, translucent
Pearlescent.
white. I don't know.
Pearlescent.
Actually, Darren's shirt looks a lot like the
Red controller.
Cosmic
I was actually thinking that too.
red.
Red?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
Yeah.
burgundy. It's a burgundy shirt that I'm wearing. I guess in the lights, making it look more cosmic.
Yeah, but burgundy is like in the red family.
It is. Yeah, they just need to make a black controller. And I think my only complaint with the black is that there's no color to break it up other than like the blue light. I wish the buttons had like the face buttons had their original pink, red, blue, and green colors to them to like break up the black.
But then it wouldn't be midnight. It wouldn't be
Right.
midnight.
It's midnight because like evidently there's no light out. There's no moon or there's no stars
There's
or
no
anything
color
like
in it.
that.
How do you
There's
guys not
still blue
understand?
in
But
the
there's
controller.
but there's neon blue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
the
still blue
moon.
light.
Okay.
You gotta get your eyes checked, Matt. Go look at, it's
I
dark.
do.
You're in Canada. Look out the goddamn window right now. What color's the moon?
I would call it a midnight blue.
A midnight blue. All
Actually,
right.
sorry, 920.
Midnight blue is actually a color and
I'm
it's
not-
darker than the blue on the
I'm not.
controller.
It's a 9:25 p.m. blue. Just so you know, I do like the black. The red, I don't know. The tone of the red is a little too dull for me. I'd want a little bit more vibrant.
Wait. The tone of the red is too dull, but you like the black.
I stand by what I said.
Okay.
Moving on to our next story, to kind of bring it a little bit full circle as to what Darren was talking about earlier on. We're going to be talking about Disco Elysium. This comes from, again, Eurogamer.net, again from Emma Kent. The Australian Classification Board has garnered a reputation for being pretty tight about the games it approves. Its refusal to give DayZ the green light over Weed resulted in the game being changed worldwide, and Disco Elysium similarly found itself in the firing line earlier this year. It was blocked because of drug use, crime, and violence, but now it's reversed its position and will be released on consoles in Australia with an 18+ rating slapped on. Darren, do you think this game is such a problem that it should have an 18+ label, and how do you feel it finally coming to Australian gamers?
Absolutely not. It's fine. It's like, I think the reason it got banned was because like the game is comedic. So like you're arguing with your brain and your brain constantly tells you to do drugs in certain situations. It's like, come on, drugs are cool. Do drugs. But like,
Yep.
it's sarcastic.
I love that game.
It's sarcasm.
I can see why parents might be upset about
Yeah.
that, especially those soccer moms.
Oh, for sure. But the issue with Australia specifically is for the longest time, they had no rating that went above 15+. and so anything that wasn't 15 plus just got banned. Famously, Left 4 Dead had to like take the blood out of the zombies, and they had to do like, remove dismemberment and stuff like that. And then Australia's like, okay, fine. We've invented the R18 rating. So now we have an 18 plus rating. Except guess what? They never use it, because pretty much any game that would normally get an 18 plus rating just gets banned. What's the point of having an R18 plus rating if you're not going to use it? Because the point is, video games are not just for kids. So if you give a game, if you don't think a kid should play a game, that's what the R18 rating's for. But I'm happy.
So did they petition? Did they petition to have that added? Like, how did that even come about?
I'm actually not sure. Do you know, Matt? Do you know what happened?
No idea. No clue.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, next time.
But I'm happy it's back.
Yeah, I'm happy it's finally coming. It's a great game and everybody should play it. So yeah. Moving on to our next story. This is coming from GamesBeat, written by industry leaker extraordinaire Jeff Grubb. He writes why Starfield won't be on PlayStation 5. And this article is actually quite interesting. So I would encourage you guys to take a read for the whole thing. But Jeff writes, Microsoft has no plans to release Bethesda's upcoming space role-playing adventure Starfield on Sony's competing PlayStation 5 console. This shouldn't surprise too many people after Xbox boss Phil Spencer said in March that Microsoft acquired Bethesda to add exclusives to Xbox Game Pass. But I've separately confirmed that this situation applies to Starfield through some sources familiar with the decision. He basically goes on to give lots more information as to why it isn't coming, so if you're curious, go check it out. But Starfield, Bethesda's new IP big RPG, is seemingly not coming to PlayStation 5. It's going to live on the Xbox ecosystem. For me personally, duh. I mean, Xbox wouldn't be sinking that much money into Bethesda to turn around and make its games available everywhere, as much as they love Game Pass, as much as they love everything else. I don't see why they'd make it available to PlayStation owners.
Well, wouldn't that make them more money in the long run?
Yeah, but this is also the game of console exclusives, right? That was the running narrative for the longest time, is that Xbox doesn't have exclusives. They buy Bethesda to then give them exclusives. So I'm not surprised, even though some of the internet seems to be like, Microsoft is not letting Starfield come to PS5. No, there was
so much speculation that they were going to still make that kind of stuff multi-platform, and I was just like, why would you think that? Why buy a company if you don't want to use that company to make you exclusive stuff?
Yeah, like they already have Deathloop coming, which I mean contractually, I think it's way too late for them to do anything about. But yeah, I don't see why they would make those Bethesda games going forward available on PlayStation. They want people in their ecosystem. If it's not buying an Xbox, it's at least subscribing to Game Pass.
Maybe I'm like naive, but when I first read about it, I thought like moving forward, they were going to make exclusives for Xbox. I didn't know that games they had already come out, or games that were close to coming out, they were going to only put on there. So maybe that's what people's surprises.
Yeah, I mean, Starfield's seemingly been in develop for quite a long time. You would think that they probably had PlayStation code running, and I guess this is just, they're going to just kind of give up on that, seemingly.
Then maybe what this actually shows is how early in development Starfield still is, that they're able to make that decision.
Evidently, it's coming out the end of this year, beginning of next year. A lot of the reports are pointing to like it's almost done. It's like it's apparently imminent, like in the next year.
Okay.
I bet you they spent a lot of time for PS5 too, and then Microsoft bought it, and they were like,
bye bye.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I get the decision. As much as love have given to Sony exclusives, I have no pillar to stand on to be like, what the fuck? It's their decision. They bought them to make these kinds of moves. And I mean, for Xbox people, it's great stuff, right? And Game Pass continues to be the best value in gaming. So, I mean, power to them. I'm curious to see Starfield when it's actually shown off. Our last story for the day, also coming from Eurogamer by Wesley Yin Poole. Final Fantasy XIV Expansion Endwalker out in November. Final Fantasy XIV Expansion Endwalker launches November 23rd, 2021, Square Enix has announced. Square Enix has also announced a new job to be introduced with Endwalker, the Reaper. This is a scythe-wielding melee DPS job who summons avatars while fighting in close-quarter combat. They also add a male Viera as a new playable race and a new city and a whole bunch of other stuff. Darren, Mr. Final Fantasy 14. How do you feel about knowing when you're going to be playing Endwalker?
Very excited. Very, very excited. I'm even considering switching my character to what the internet is referring to as husbandos.
The male Vieira. They look
yeah.
super cute, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I really like their design. I want to wait till there's more information on whether they could wear hats or not, because that's a big controversy that the bunny people can't really wear hats right now. I mean, they
I'm
can
pretty
wear them.
excited.
Yeah, like it's cool. Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm also excited.
Might find me a husband.
A husbando.
A husbando.
Do you see yourself playing this consistently through to November and forward, Darren? Or do you see yourself maybe like taking a break for a couple months leading up to Endwalker? Or do you see this staying in your life in perpetuity?
Well, I'm happy that it's far enough away that I have time to like get a bunch of stuff done, because there is quite a lot of content at Endgame.
That answers the question.
That I still need to do. I you know what? I might actually consider taking a month or two off. Not now. I don't have this intention immediately. But I could see myself like taking a month off in like October or September. Just because like it is a lot of money, and it would be kind of nice to save like $30 for, a couple months.
Hey Google,
really
remind me.
I feel like you're not, because like you're gonna be like, so guys, I'm gonna take like a month break, and all of your followers in your free guild are gonna be like, what the fuck, Darren? What? A month? That's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a long time
right.
in game world. That game time. That's a long time.
That is.
Hey Google,
that is.
Remind me on September 1st to ask Darren if he's still going to take a break in Final Fantasy 14.
He's not. That's like when you take breaks in game. I don't know why it works like this, but like in game time, like a month is like 6 months.
I know.
It's like such a long time.
Yeah. I guess when you put it that way.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can like just play it half the time you play it, but I don't think you're going to take a full break.
Maybe like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are no Final Fantasy days,
Yeah. You could do that.
I think I have a problem.
You can
I am still committed to my promise to get to Endwalker before Endwalker, and the pre-order has those like 30% XP boost earrings, so I might just pre-order it to be able to get those earrings to make my grind a little bit easier. But I guess we'll find out. Endwalker coming in November.
I can't remember if this is true or
Stay
not, but
tuned.
I just want to say, I think if you want those earrings, you actually have to pre-order it before the end of May.
If you're lying to me, Darren, I know where you live.
I mean, just look it up.
I don't want to.
look
Now
that
I've
up.
taken his word for it.
No, don't take my word for that.
It's too late. You put it out.
Look it up, guys.
Look
Trust
it up.
Darren. And if you don't, blame Darren. And that, my friends, my listeners, our community, thank you so much for listening. That brings us to the end of the show. This was episode 89. Guys, we're 11 away from 100.
Wow.
I know. We have to do something special. I'm so sad we can't like get together and drink.
I know.
We can get together and drink.
Now.
We can drink
That's
together.
not the same.
We're not all in roughly the same time zone. So if we're all drinking, it's not like I'm drinking at 8 a.m.
That's true.
Yes.
I'm also like trying to like get healthy, so I won't be drinking.
Well, keep in mind that's like 2.5 months away from now. So you have plenty of time.
It takes me a long time, Matt.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. I have 2.5 months for us to get healthy and then ruin it for an evening. So get ready for that. Everybody,
Nice.
Thanks again for listening. Go check out our YouTube, where we have plenty of content coming soon. We have a bunch of cool stuff going on. Get ready for a whole lot. It's going to be dope. Destiny, thank you so much. Darren, once again, thank you. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
I can't start laughing because that's not
No,
gonna
that's
be
bad.
good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we don't want to start laughing.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's just the way you're like a seal clap.
You can put it at the end.
I will.